Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to the Japan Study Center. Today we are going to see the chapter of geography, and what is our topic today? Work of moving ice, wind and the sea wave. There is a most important chapter, or also important here the point for snowfield. What do you mean to hear snowfields? In the region where the temperature are very mild below the freezing point and precipitations occur in the form of snowfall. Wherever the rate of snow melting or it is a evaporation is a lower than the rate of snowfall in a year, and the snow accumulate into the great marks of the ice and permanently snow cover the regional of these types is called the snow field. And the snow is a field occur in the polar region and the high mountainous area. There is a most important here. There is a is a polar ice occur there a high mountainous area. Snow fields are away found above the snow line. The snow line is on the imaginary line above to the which there is the permanent snow. The height of the snow line is not uniform as and they are affected by the latitude amount of the snowfall and direction of the wind and slope. That is the most important here. The important here permanently snowfall covered region of this type is called to the snowfield is the most important point here. And there is an important also regional permanent covered by the snow and the ice is called a snowfield. The region permanently covered by the snow and the ice is called the snowfield. The snow line is the lowest limit of the permanent snow and factor affecting the snow lines and altitude amount of the snowfall, direction of wind and slope of the land. There is a most important. Our next topic is glacier. What is a glacier here? The glacier is a generally word that is used of the day-to-day life. The glacier in the regional experience of the snowfall. The glacier here, the experience of the snowfall. The snow is a keep in the accumulating the layer once above the other. It is the overlying pressure is applied to the underlying snow. It is a so great that snow is a lower layer is a granular and the hard and compact. The pressures also is a quicken the melting of the some of the snow, which on the refreezing start turning into the granular ice. Again, it is the pressure of the overlying layer which is a make this is a solid marks of the ice mobile. This great marks of the ice moving more under its oven weight is called to the glacier. There is the most important here. Again, it is the pressure of the overlying layer which is a make this is a solid marks of the ice mobile, and this great marks of the ice moving more under it is oven weight is called to the glacier. Its velocity is a very low and it is a move from a few centimeter to the few meter in a day. There is a most important here, and important also here types of glacier. Here, types of glacier on the basis of the location or area of the origins is a glacier are divided into two types. The first here, continental glacier, and second is a valley glacier. This is the most important. Continental glacier and the valley glacier is the two types glacier here. The first here, a continental glacier. The continental glacier here, the thick ice sheet covering the vast area of land is called a continental glacier. The thickness of the ice in such a region goes up to is 1,000 of meters. Glacier of this is the type the build up at the center and move the outward in all direction. Sedimental is the glaciers of the today are found mainly in the Antarctica and Greenland. There is a most important. There are continental glacier is a found. Remember now, is the Antarctica and the Greenland. There is the most important here. The precipitation is this is a reason occur in the form of snow. It's a get accumulated year by year because of the relatively slow rate of it is a melting. There is also important point here. There is a accumulate year by year because reason by the relatively slow rate of the melting. The next state is a valley glacier. There is a valley glacier is the most important here. When the marks of the ice from the high mountainous region start moving down into the pre-existing valley, it is a call of valley glacier or mountain glacier. The shapes of the valley glaciers depend on the valley it is occupies, and where the valley is bordered as the glacier spread outward and there is a valley is a narrow. The glacier is a contract. That is the most important area. The longest glacier in India is the Sichenis Glacier. Sichenis Glacier and Karakoram Range which is a 72-kilometer long. There is the most important here is 72-kilometer longer. And Gangotri Glacier is the Uttarakhand is a 25.5-kilometer long. There is a many of smaller glaciers in the other part of Himalaya. Their length of varies from 5 to 10 kilometer. There is the most important here. The two important river of India is the Ganga, Yamuna, or is a net from to the Gangotri and Yamuna 3 is a glacier respectively. There is the most important here. The Ganga, the Yamuna, or is a net from to the Gangotri and Yamuna 3 is a glacier respectively. A moving marks of the ice snow is a called to the glacier. There is the most important point. A moving mass of ice is a snow is called a glacier. Glacier are two types of continental glacier and valley glacier. And the important point arrive here, a landform produced by the glacier. There is a most important point here. The repeated landform produced by glacier. This is the most important topic. There is a like a running water and groundwater. Glacier also does the work of erosions and transportation and depositions. Although the zone of action of glacier is a rather limit is a topographical features made by them are frequently found spread over to the even in the area once affected by the glacier action. There is the most important and the first point here, erosional work of the glacier. What is the erosional work of glacier here? As the glacier move over to land, it drags rock fragment. Grab and stand along with it is that this rock fragment become efficient and erosive tools. With there is a help of glacier scraps and the score of the surface rock with which it is a come in the contact. This action of glacier leave behind to the sketch and the grooves on rocks. The landform created by the glacier, the erosion are the first here is a cracks or quarries. There is the most important here. Snow collected at the upper end is a ball-shaped depression is called circuit. The layer of the snow is a process of a compaction and the recrystallization. Recrystallizations are called firn. There is the most important here. The layer of snow is the process of compactions and recrystallization is called firn. And sometimes the deepest part of these holes are occupied by the accumulated water to form a quarries lake or train. Here show the formation of the circuit. There is the most important. The snowfield here present on the arrow show here and the stage snowfield and the quarries lake is a turn. There is a square with the lake and circles on the quarries here present. There is a most important diagram matrix show of the formation of circular there here. The next point here, the U-shaped valley. U-shaped valley is the most important point here. The glacier does not be curved a new valley like a river, but deepens and widens a pre-existing valley by the smoothings away for the irregularities. In this process, the glacier is broadens their side of valley. The shape of the valley is formed in this manner. The resemble the letter U. It is therefore called a U-shaped valley. And such a valley is relative to the strength has of flat floor and the nearly a vertical size. Show here picture. This is the U-shaped valley. There is the most important the ice here deposit for the air and a formation of the U-shaped valley. There is the most important shape on geographical student. The next here is a hanging valley. There is a hanging valley is also important, just like a tributary stem of river. And there is a tributary glacier also which is join the main glacier after moving over their mountainous path. And these tributaries glacier like the main glacier curves a U-shaped valley. However, they have to the less volume of the ice than to the main glacier, and thus there is a rate of the erosion is less rapidly. As a result, there is a valley are smaller and not as deep as that of the main glacier. Due to their difference in the deepings, their valley of the tributary glacier is left at a higher level than the of main glacier. The valley of tributary glacier just look like a hanging downward and the point of the convergence with the main valley. This type of topographics, there is a topographics called feature is called to the hanging valley. That is the most important. The valley of the tributary glacier just look like a hanging downward at the point of its convergence with the main valley. This type of a topographical is a feature is called a hanging valley. The feature is visible when ice has a melt in the both of valleys. And the show the figure when the ice is a hanging valley is a melt a waterfall informed at a point of the convergence of this stream with the main river. The first diagram here states in the development of glaciated valley. There is a most important here during the glaciations, after glaciation, before glaciation. There are three types of glacier here present before the glaciations and during the glaciation and after the glaciation. There is a tributary here formed river valley is a formation, and the valley glacier is also formation and moraines, and there is a hanging valley here, a main valley also. Here diagram show the main feature of glacier. There is the most important. There is shape the U, and the main U shape the valley is a formation. There is the most important point here and shown in this picture. The next point here are transportational work of glacier. There is the most important. A thought there a glacier moves very slowly. There is a glacier move very slowly. It is a dogs where there are large is a boulders and rock fragment. The glacier get this is a maternal form of the mountain slope, valley side and valley bottom of from air. And this material is called to the load of a glacier. And the next year, depositional work of the glacier here, when the glacier is a melt or retreat, it is a deposit, it is a load in a different part. The device is thus the deposited as a called moraines. Depending upon there is a location in the valley, the moraines are four types: terminal moraines, lateral moraines, and middle moraines, and the ground moraine. There is the most important here of four types. The next here is the fourth type. The terminal moraines is the most important. When the glacier melt, the debris as deposited at the end of the valley glacier in the form of rises. It is called terminal moraine. The morainic material ranges from to fine clay to the large angular is bolded. There is the most important here terminal moraine. The second here a lateral moraine. The moraines which is the deposit on the other side of the glacier is called lateral moraine. There is the most important. And third here middle moraine. The middle moraines when the two glaciers join each other, there is a lateral moraines also join. The moraine is thus the formed on the confluence of the two glaciers is called middle moraines. And the next here is a finally fourth a ground moraine. Ground moraines it is a consist of deposit left behind on the area once covered by glacier. It is seen only after the glacier ice has disappeared by melting. Here diagram show there a glacier with a small tributary. Snow is a mountain, and there is the most important. There is a ground moraines here present, lateral moraines, middle moraines, and is a lateral moraine. There is the most important here glacier. Here the most important is a point here. A moraines and accumulation of the angular block of rock is boulders as pebbles and the clay that has been to deposit by melting glacier or ice sheet at the edges. And second point here, the moraines is a deposit at the end of the valley glacier is called terminal moraine. And the next is the moraine deposited on the side of the glacier is called the lateral moraine. And the next here, The moraine is a deposit at the confluence of the two glaciers is called the Merrill's moraine. And also here, a moraine is a deposit at the bottom of the glacier is called ground moraine. There is a most important chapter. There is a come to the next point. Here is the most important here. A landforms are produced by the wind. There is the most important. The landforms produced by the wind. The wind action is a move to mineral particles when they are the dry state and protected by the vegetation cover. There is the most important. These conditions are found in the desert and semi-maral regions of the world, as well as on the sandy shorelines. There is the most important here. And the first point arrive here, the erosion by the wind. The erosion by the wind here, there is the most important thing. The wind is performed three kinds of erosionally work: abrasions, iterations, and deflations. The loose particles lying on the ground surface may be lifted into the air and rolled among the ground by the wind action. There is along the ground by wind action, and in the process of wind abrasions and wind drives and the sand or dust particle against an exposed rock or soil surface. When the wind is born, the material strikes against each other. They are reduced in smaller particles. And this process is known as the iterations. What is the iterations here? When the wind is born, the material strike against each other, they are reduced in smaller particles. And this process is known as the iterations. The removal of the loose particles from to the ground in the terminate is the deflations. There is a three types. There is the most important definition here. The removal of loose particles from to the ground is determinant to the deflations. There is the most important. The next here, the landform produced by the wind erosion. There is the most important here. Some of the topographically feature made by the wind erosions are follow. The mushrooms rock or rock predictor. When the rock is consisting of alternate a hard and soft layer are objected to the wind is abrasions and differentially erosion results. The soft layer are easily eroded, but the hard layer has resist erosions as a result of undercutting near the base. Due to the greater amount of sand and rock particle began transported close to the ground. The resulting of features resemble a rock pillar shaped like a mushroom. It is about it is called to rock pedestals and mushroom rock. Such as a formation are common in the Sahara Desert and are also the seen near the Jodhpur. Here show the picture. There is a mushroom rock. Here show the mushroom rock. They are shaped by mushroom. There is a most important rock here, mushroom rock. The next here, wind eroded basin. There is a most important, the wind eroded basins. A landform produced by the deflations is a shallow, and the shallow there is a depression called is a blowout. The crater, a depression is a Egypt is a Periphas is a finished example such a hollow. There is a most important diagram here show the wind eroded basins. The eroded and the regions and wind eroded basins caused by the deflations. Show here picture. There is the hole on there region causing by the deflation. There is a most important diagram here. The next here transportation by the wind. There is a most important here transportations by wind. Wind is an important agent of transportation in the arid region. The transported is a material is a sometime deposit in an area very far away from the place from where a dust particles has been to picked. The wind is blowing from to the Gobi Desert carry a dust to the northern part of China. In our country, also wind blowing from to the Thar Desert, bearing a dust particle to the western Uttar Pradesh and the adjoining part of him is a Haryana and Punjab. This transported is material is a deposit in the fertility plan of the Uttar Pradesh. The next here, deposition by the wind. There is the most important here, or deposition by the winds. Under contain or condition, the materials transported by the wind start getting deposited at the particular site along its running track. The condition of favoring it is are here is the most important point. The first here, when the amount of dust particles present in the air exceed its carry capacity, a part of the materials being to the transported is deposited, and this is the material which is exceeds of the transportation capacity of the wind. That is the most important here. And second here, when the speed of the wind is reduced, it is a carrying capacity is also reduced the materials in the suspension in thus the deposited. And third point here, when obstructions is come in the path of the wind, air has to be rise above this is obstructions. When it is a rise, the velocity of the wind is reduced and it is a start dropping to the it's a load. And this material is deposited in the form of the mound at the foot of the obstruction. There is a most important 3 point here. There is the point here. The condition favoring its are here is a running track. The next here, landform produced by the wind deposition. There is the most important here. Some of the topographical features made by the wind deposition are flowing. The first here, sand dunes. The sand dunes here, sand dunes are a specially feature of the desert region. They are different types and have a variety of shapes. The major factor affecting their formation are amount of sand available. The second here, direction and force of wind. And third here, on obstruction in their path of the winds. Example, a versus a stone or the dead animal. There is a most important example here. A versus a stones and dead animal. As long as the wind is strong enough to carry the sand dune are mobile and they keep on the shifting from one place to another. If vegetation or a line of trees start is a growing on the dunes due to become a fixed. They also become a stony when they are blocked by a hillock. There is the most important. They also become stony when they are blocked by the hillock. In case there is no such obstructions, and dune may be beauty agricultural land, plan and settlement. There is the most important here. In case there is no such obstructions, sand dunes may be berry agriculture land, plan and settlements. So here there are two main types of sand dune. There is the most important here. There are two main types of sand dune. First here, Birchen. Birchen here, the one common types of sand dune is an isolated heap of free sand called a Birchen. The Birchen are also called as a crescentric dune. These types of dune has the outline of crescent and the point of the crescent are directly downwinds on the upwinds side of the crest. The sand slope is gently and smoothly is rounded. They are found in a large number in the Sahara Desert. Here show the diagram here, Branchen and its a migration. First diagram is a wind here blow to the upside and there is the horns present in this. And second here, the future position of the branch, there is a wind directions and there are edges. There are branches and it is a migration. The second dunes here are a Safed dune. There is the most important Safed dune. There are long, narrow ridges of sand that is a parallel to the direction of the prevailing wind. The wind is a below starting along. There is a corridors and between to the line of dune. The sweepings and corridors is a clear of the sand. The corridor is a clear of the sand, and however the areas set up in the winds below to about to the side of the corridors depositing and sand, and there is a form. This is a narrow Alluviated dunes and salvage dunes are common in the western part of the Thar Desert of India. There is the most important from the UPSC exam. There is a Thar Desert of the western part. Salvage dune is a present. First diagram here show there is the most important. There is arrow shape. There is a dune is a salvage dunes. There is the most important. And next here the second salvage dunes here arrays and dominantes and wind direction. There is a wind direction here, a diagram show the clear of salvage dunes in here. The next here is the losses. There is the most important losses here. In the several large area of the world, the surface is covered by the deposit of the wind transported slate that has settled out from the dust storm over is a thousand of the year. This material is known as the loose. There is the most important here, the loose. The loose is repeating here. In a several large area of the world, the surface is covered by the deposit of wind transported sludge that has settled out from the dust storm over many thousand of the year. This material is known as the losses. The losses is the tend to be a break away along the vertically clap and whenever it is exposed by their cutting off a stem and gradings of a roadway. It is also very easily eroded by the runnings water and is subjected to the rapidly gullings when the vegetations cover that protect it is a break-in. And the thickest is the deposit of losses are the northernest China and where is a layer over to the 30 meters deep in a common and a maximum thickness of 100 meter has been to the measured. Besides the China deposit of the loess occurred is a Mississippi Valley of North America and north of Central Europeans is the upland is the Germany, Belgium and France. Losses deposit are found to the Australia also. There is the most important point here. A depositional work of the wind result in a formation of the topographical feature like a sand dunes, brancher and sapphire dunes and losses. I have also done from here the moving ice and wind. There are next topic here arrive a landform produced by the sea wave. There is a last topic here. There is a landform produced by the sea wave here. We are aware to the fact that is a water is a oceans is a near at a rest. Here there is a rest. The tides wave is ocean current is a contribute to the restness of oceans. There are continuous of effect on the coastal create a number of relief feature. The work of sea wave as an agent of gradations on include erosion, transportation and deposition. A number of topographical features are made through this is the action of waves. Such a features are found in the coastal regions. Let us study work of the sea wave in some more detail. The first year erosion by sea wave. The sea wave have a great erosive force. In their role of the erosional agent, they are perform for a function. They are perform a four function here. When the sea water loaded with the rock fragments and the sand attack the coastal rock, it's called abrasions. The rock particle is present in the water hit against each other and break into the progressively smaller particles. This process is called adhesions. And thirdly, there is the broadenings. Broadenings is a crack and the scrapes in the slip along the coastal due to the attack of the sea wave is called hydroelectric action. The rock made of the limestone are subjected to the solution actions by their sea wave. All this is a process help in a formation of new features on the coastal margins. The next is landform produced by the sea wave erosion. The wave like a stream eroded of coastal rock with the help of the rock fragments present in the water. Due to the continued erosions by the waves, the coastal lines keeps retracting and number of topographical features are formed in the process. Some of the important features made through the sea wave erosion and mentioned here. The first here, sea cliff. The sea cliff here, the maximum impact of the sea wave is absorbed on the lower part of the coastal rock, and consequently there is a lower part of the rock is eroded is a more rapidly than the upper part. This result in the formation of the hollow under to rock, and with their passage of the time the excavations in the lower part of the rock keep on becoming larger. Here show the sea cliff. There is a cliff here this side, and bordering grabs sand here and the sea. The analysis as a growing here. There is the most important diagram here show. The upper part of the rock is thus the left projecting out to about the sea. After some time, this projecting part fall into the sea under its own weight. As a result, a vertically wall is left. This vertically wall is called a cleave. In India, a number of sea cliffs are found along the Konkan coastal of India. There is a most important. And next point here, sea caps. Sea caps here, when the upper part of the coastal rock is hard and the lower part is very soft. The erosion is not uniform. The lower part of the rock is such as a circumstance is eroded much faster than to the upper part. Due to the differential erosion is a hole is created in the lower part of the rock. When the wave found against the hollow airs present in the hollow get compressed. When the wave come out of the hole, there is a pressure on the air is also released and it is expand. Due to the continued compressions of the air in the hollow, there is a rock are subjected to the great pressure and the break. In this process, the hollow is the lower part of the rock keep on the enlarging. With passage of the time, there are tend to form of caps, and they are known as the sea cap. Formation of the cap depend upon the nature of the coastlines and force of the wave. There is a most important. An important here, sea arches. When a part of coastal extends to the same distance into the sea, and the sea wave working from a opposite direction and cut a path through the soft rock. In the initially stage, the passage is a narrow hall, but it is a enlarged into the bordered arch. These bordered doors like a feature is called either sea arches or natural bridge. There is a most important sea arches. The next here, sea track. When the roof or on the arch is broken by erosion or under its oven weight or due to any other reason, a part of the original rock remain standing as the solitary marks. It may be the rock forming the side of arch. This type of feature is called a sea stack. Stacks are of a number of types depending upon their shape and the nature of the rocks. Sometimes they take the shape of islands, but such islands are not permanent. A small underwater stock known as the stumps. Here they show the diagram a topographical feature made through their wave erosion. There is a most important. Here show the stacks, stumps. There is the wave, natural arts. There is the most important diagram here. The next here, a transportation by sea wave. Sea wave is the currents or tides are main agent of transportation of the eroded material in the coastal region. However, the role of wave is more important in the connection with the formation of coastal relief features. The materials deposit on the coastal by the rivers and glacier, etc. It is removed and transported by the wave. Transportation by the sea wave is carried out in the two-way. The first year, removal and transportations and toward the sea and of the materials deposited by the rivers, etc. on the coasts. And second year, carrying of the materials found in the sea to be a coastal area. During this process, the ocean's materials like pearls, conches, and other shaded through there to the coastal. There is the most important pearls here. The next here are deposition by the sea wave. The sea wave are helpful in the deposition of the material eroded from the coastal area. Oceanic is current are there also helpful in the deposition of the transported material. Deposition of the materials along the coastal is selective. The large particles are deposited first, therefore they are found near the coasts. On the other hand, the finished the particles are deposited the last and they are deposited generally away from the coast. This selective deposition is sometimes alterated to the affected by a change in the intensity of force of the wave. Thus, it is sometimes possible to find a very fine particle deposited near the coastal where generally large particles are deposited. A number of the topographical features are formed due to the deposition by wave and current. Some of the topographical features are discussed here. The first here, beach. The most of the materials eroded and picked up by the wave is a deposit near the coast. Due to this deposition, there is sea become a shallow and a part of the coastal area is raised above the water level. This rise is a protection is almost like a flat plan of the platform formed of the graves and sand. This type of depositional feature along the coast is called a beach. The beaches are center of the tourist attraction. The beach are centers of tourist attractions. The Marians Beach of their Chennai and Columbus Beach of the Thiruvananthapuram are the famous beach of the India. There is the most important for UPSC exam. There is the Marine Beach here found at the Chennai and the Kovalam Beach is found at Thiruvananthapuram. There is the most important here. The next year, Sandbar. Sometimes the deposit of the sand and graves let down by the wave and current from to embankment is separating shorelines from the sea. They thus the very barriers between the sea and the mainland. Such a deposit are called sandbar. They sometimes pose a difficulty in the navigating. Here show the diagram a sandbar and spirit. There is the most important diagram show the is a Baltic Sea and spirit and Gastrodons dashing and Erosion's bar, the lagoons and the lagoons is a memoir. There is a sandbar is a spirit is the most important here. The next here is speed. Speed here when one end of the bar is attached to the coast and other extend into the sea. It is a call to the spirit. These spirits are formed by the accumulation of the material both by the wave like sand and gravel. There is the most important here. The next is a lagoon. Lagoon here, sometimes due to the deposition of the wave and currents, both the end of the bar join to the enclosed part of the sea water between to the coast and the bar. This enclosed part of the sea from a lake of saline water, and this saline water lake is called a lagoon. Here show the diagram of the map showing the famous lagoon of India. That is the most important here. Is a Pickles Lake, India, Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, Checkers Lake, and there is a Berbanth Lake and the Kerala Tamil Nadu. There is the most important. So here the lagoons in India. Sometimes the lagoons are formed due to the wave of erosion also. There is the most important. Sometimes lagoons are formed due to the wave erosion also, and the lagoon is generally connected with the sea through a narrow passage. The Chilka and is a public lake on the northern eastern coastal lake is the Bamboo and the Corals coastal example of the lagoon lake in India. That is the most important here. The Bamband and Kerals is a coastal are example of lagoons lake of India here. And here a topographical feature like beaches, bar, spit and lagoons are formed by the action of wave. There is a most important here feature, topographical feature here, beaches, bar, spit and lagoons are formed by the action of wave.